I was parking my car the other day, and I parked behind an LL Bean edition of a Forester, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a LL Bean wearer.
Yeah. Shout out to LL Bean, bro. That's
Shout
a
out
good
to
company.
LL Bean. I remember there was a time where you could burn your boots or whatever. Like, you could buy stuff from them, you could mail it back. They'd give you a brand new pair of something. But, you know, people started probably taking advantage of that. But I was thinking, I was like, man, I like these clothing sponsored cars.
Like Ford and
Eddie Bauer, right? I don't know if they're doing that anymore, but also like my brain started to just go into like creative mode. And I was like, man, you know, like they gotta have the Lululemon Volvo.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's something I could see you getting into, the Lululemon with the kind of the seats that are wick.
Yep.
What is it called? Anti-moisture wicking.
Yeah, with the logo in the back, and you got to move your head so you can see the logo when you're taking
Lulu car.
Yeah.
You got the Lulu
Safe.
car.
Soccer moms will go fucking nuts over that, bro. They will go crazy over the Lululemon Volvo collab.
Cause to step into a car, like I'd have the bean duck boots, right?
Yeah.
I'd have like my bean roll neck sweater that I filmed a special in that sweater. That's how special that bean sweater is to me. So like the roll neck bean sweater, the duck boots, into the LL Bean Forester
With the LL Bean mats.
LL Bean mats, bro. I even have like a little LL Bean balsam fir incense house a little log cabin house.
A little smoke comes out the chimney, bro.
Yeah,
Smoke comes out the chimney. It's like a winter night. I could see that commercial now.
Bro. Come on, bro. But then you also start to get a little racist when you think about these car collabs, right? Because then you're like, the SRT Nike Tech Fleece collab. The SRT Nike Tech Fleece.
Damn.
But we're from Florida, so we grew up on branded cars.
The Kellogg's,
the
Kellogg's
Kellogg's
Chevy Donk, bruh. That shit was, you see that pulling up and you're like,
bruh, you had the Chips Ahoy. You had the Chips Ahoy Chevy on 30s with the wheel well cut so they could still make a turn.
You gotta make long turns, bro. You just gotta go slightly diagonal until you just come this way, bro. You gotta go the long way.
I like when they would buy the cop cars and
Crown Vics.
they would buy the Crown Vics and then they would take the Crown Vic and again Newport.
Yes.
They make it look like a box.
Green and like
Newport
white.
100s on the side, gold rims. They're taking the cop cars and making them into their own.
It's like the N-word,
thing. We
bro.
gotta
We're
buy
taking
it
back.
You gotta take
Florida
it
took
back.
It back, bro. Yeah.
Florida is such an interesting place to grow up because that was a lot of places have car culture, but our car culture specifically was like get the rims as big as you can, put a brand on it. Which, if you really think about it, on like a race level, right? Why is that more looked down upon than having an Eddie Bauer Ford,
right,
or a LL Bean Forester? It's all the same shit.
Right. That's like the streetwear of like high-end car culture. So it's like there's a Florida Dapper Dan who's driving a M&M, green M&M. The green M&M is twerking. You know what I mean? On the trunk, probably. Just some shit. You see the ass cheeks, and it's like, that's the green M&M Chevy, bro. That's just what it is.
M&M Chevy. Because like as a drug dealer, and I'm not saying that like only drug dealers had these cars, but like who was getting money like that to afford. And I feel like a lot of the time, most of the money would be spent into the car. It was almost like, see, like in New York, people buy clothes to show off their, like how cool they are. And we do that in Florida as well. But I feel like in Florida, a drug dealer would wear a black tee with like a black hat with the black Reeboks, and he would put most of his money into having the cool car.
Yeah,
and
it's accessories and cars.
Imagine when you buy the NASCAR jacket that you have the car too as well.
Yeah,
the NASCAR jacket matches the car. That's almost like me having the sweater for the LL Bean Forest.
Right, and it's almost, here's the crazy thing. Like there's like when you think of NASCAR, that's like Southern white. There is a cross pollination of like Southern black culture also identifying with NASCAR.
Yes.
Chevy tuned up like a NASCAR
drop. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like this cross pollination. There's almost like an intersection of like culture that blends, which is like I ask this question a lot. Is racism worse in Florida or is it worse in New York or California?
Listening to maybe like old Malcolm X speeches, maybe like it's worse in the North because the liberals that are up here will make you think they're your friends. And I mean, I know like people might be watching and say, well, Rufat, what are you talking about? Who are you? Which side are you on?
We're the worst people.
No, I don't think so. But like, like I'm just quoting him as in like, sometimes it's the people that say they're for stuff that are passively aggressively against of it. And actually, I don't know. I mean, maybe ask.
And we're jumping subjects, but we went to Florida State and knew Ben Crump, who is a huge civil rights fighting.
Lawyer, yeah. We knew all of those dudes coming up.
The movement there's a lot of cultural movements that
started in
from
Florida,
bro. I was talking to a couple of Detroit people about this. The phrase "What up, though"? Do you remember hearing that?
What
Florida?
Up, though? Yeah.
What up, though? That's a Detroit slogan. Okay. I remember hearing it from Florida. There's just like that was just a normal thing. What up, though? Like what up, B? Like what up, though? I heard all variations of that, and for that to be a Detroit slogan, almost there's no slur with Detroit speak, if you will. So there's no within their like they're like almost like slight variation on language. There's no Detroit people pronounce all the words, right?
Yeah.
So what up, though?
Detroit actually, people from Detroit or Detroit rap sounds very similar to Oakland rap.
Yes.
They pronounce
all the words are pronounced. So dough, why would dough in Detroit? What up, dough?
Who brought it over there?
I heard it on BMF.
Oh, so yeah, Rick Ross might be, because a lot of people,
there's a pipeline. There's a northern pipeline because we had Florida people, we had New York people, Detroit people.
He wasn't the first to do like a northern southern connection. I think Jay-Z played a big part in like rapping with other Southerners.
I-95 trips.
Bun B.
Yeah.
And so he did like a song with UGK. I don't have to like put down the whole thing of what he did. He did the Juvenile song. He was on the Ha remix. But I think Rick Ross was a big, like, because Rick Ross rapped like he was from Florida, but not really.
He's a jet setter, so he's pulling up. Rick Ross would pull up, and I feel like he was everywhere.
And then he put Jada Kiss on like the hardest Southern beat ever, which is BMF. And so like it just speaks of Rick Ross was definitely a fan of East Coast rap.
Yeah,
there's no doubting that, because he was big into Jay-Z. He had Jada Kiss on so like that's always nice to see that connection. I want to say something else about the cars before we move further.
Yeah. I kind of delineated.
Martin, the MLK Street in St. Petersburg, Florida. On MLK Day, there is a car show, and you could look this up. Every year, there is a car show in the city that I grew up in. On MLK Street on MLK Day, and it's just dudes or gals or whoever. They take their car and they just kind of like, spin the block with it. And that's the car show. It's not like an official car show. They spin the block with it. The most interesting thing I've seen recently, though, over there is that they'll have like a really nice pickup truck. Like it'll be like, it'll have the rims on it. It'll have like the candy paint. It'll be decked out. And it'll have a wagon, like a hitched like a tow wagon, and then they'll have another car that's decked out on top of it.
I've seen
so
that.
It's not enough that they're coming to the car show with one fly ass car.
What's your tow package looking like, bro?
They're towing a whole other car. Like, yo, check both of these cars out.
And they match, they coordinate.
And I think that speaks for Florida. Like, I think like we're really thoughtful when we do things.
That's
man.
a very thoughtful touch, and I would like, that's like the Christmas light show. You know what I mean? Like you go around neighborhoods, seeing the different houses. That's our version of cars. When did you move to St. Pete?
I moved to St. Pete when I was like 13.
Okay.
I was a bad kid in Pennsylvania.
What grade was that?
7th was my first year, but what I did was I went there in the summertime. So I visited in the winter when I was in 6th grade, and I did a ton of wild shit visiting my dad, because my dad was saying he was moving there for a better life. My dad moved dead smack into the projects, but like kind of like the way it was is there was like Section 8, then there was like this other apartment complex, and then this other apartment complex, and it kind of went from like worst to better the further you went left.
Gotcha.
And the funny thing is our apartment complex was called Harbor Watch, but when I moved there, everyone pronounced it Hobble Watts.
At the Hobble Watts.
You Hobble Watt? You live in Hobble Watts. And then the Section 8 one was called Demo.
Okay.
And those kids from Demo used to beat me up every day.
Dog.
I would get beat up every day until I stood up for myself, and then they stopped messing with me. But yeah, they were like, who is this white boy moving to our neighborhood? I don't know what it was like for you in Tampa, but the first day of school in St. Petersburg we're still under zoning. So we were zoned to get bussed out to a school that was 45 to an hour away.
Ooh.
So every morning we would wake up early to catch a bus to go to kind of like integrate a school that was more white. So we would go to Pinellas Park, but we had a middle school right next to us, but we weren't zoned for it.
Damn.
So we had to get bussed out. And I remember waking up in the morning hella early. My first day, it was all the people that I spent the summer with. Bam. Damn, I'm blanking out on Jay. Bam's real name was Quantarius, but it was Jay. There was a crazy white boy named Jake, who I got into smoking weed with him and doing crazy shit with him.
The crazy thing is, you could have been a crazy Florida white boy.
I was. For a time, I was.
That's a lane,
when I first started school, I was. And so my first day on the bus, I got on the bus, and I remember Bam and Jay telling me, like, what are you doing going to the back? I was like, I'm just going to go to the back of the bus. And they were like, nah, them boys from Tray 6 is the next stop. If you go to the back, they will come on here and they will kick you out. I was like, what do you mean? We're here first. I'm going to the back. He's like, all right, do what you want. Bro, I remember we got picked up. I sat in the back with everybody. The boys from Tray 6 came on. One of them went to the NFL. His name's Jamar Neighbors. He's a Kappa. He's a Kappa.
That's funny.
He's a Kappa, and he's a good dude. But it's middle school. Middle school is very territorial.
Yeah.
You just hit puberty. I remember they saw me and they were like, "Who the fuck is this cracker? Get the fuck!" So they got. I wasn't gonna fight them, And I was 3 to a seat with these 2 big girls, and I was just hanging off the edge of the seat. It was different, man.
Trying to play it cool.
But I worked as the year progressed, bro. I got a fine girlfriend. I started going to church and I started rapping. And then like once people knew that I rapped, I worked my way to the back of the bus because they saw that I was cool. And I think that is why most white dudes are annoying, because they never had to work their way to the back.
It's stolen.
They never had to earn. They never had to get into to fights all summer. They never got blitzed up. They never got, like they don't have tough skin.
Boom, bro.
And so like they may act a certain way, but like
it's fraudulent. And you could tell it's a tonal thing with white dudes that are like, you could hear it and you're like,
my theory has always been is like, how do you know as a white dude that you like black people or you're cool with black people unless like you've gotten into a physical fight with an actual black person and came out still liking them and still being cool? Like you didn't really grow up around them like that, because to like really like somebody, you gotta kind of feud. You kind of got to get down to the nitty gritty. And it was never really like, the feuds were never really about like, I guess you could say it was about race, but I guess it was just like more so like, I think no matter your race, if you grow up in a certain type of place, right? Well, you kind of got to earn your keeps when you're the new kid, bro. No matter what race you are.
You have to. There's some sort of resistance into the way in. And you know where you're supposed to be, and it's like, yo, it's not gonna be easy, but I have to break through here. You gotta break through the atmosphere.
But the shit is annoying though too.
It's burdensome, but also the guys who dislike black culture never made it through the osmosis. They never got through the cell membrane. So it's like they get stuck and then they hate black culture.
And then they do country music.
And then or they're like they're like a Republican. They're just like, well, here's actually what I think. And it's like you didn't make it through, bro. You got roasted, you got pushed out, and you didn't fight through. You gotta fight through.
Because at the end of the day, like I realized like it could have either made me mad and hateful or but it more so was like, nah, everyone gets bullied. Everyone, if anything, the redeeming thing was that like, yeah, I got bullied, but then I didn't get bullied no more.
You're good.
Like, you know what I mean?
You were good.
Whereas in certain places, you'll always get bullied. And they won't ever stop bullying you. You have no redemption arc. But in St. Petersburg, I had a redemption arc.
And that's where you start to find yourself immersed in Florida culture, and you're like, oh, this is what it feels like. It's a different thing. It's a completely different thing.
I don't know how it was like for you when you first came from Washington, D.C., but like I came to South Side, and I always want to specify, I grew up on the South Side of St. Petersburg. Rod Wave went to my high school. The twins, like the twins, the Griffin twins. One of them doesn't have like an arm because they were twins, and the limb got cut off in the womb, like because like the
umbilical cord.
Yeah, and so like he came. They went to my high school.
Wow.
Like
St. Pete was, and that there's a very different, like between St. Pete and Tampa. It's like the difference between DC and Baltimore.
Yes,
that's what it feels
we
like.
go to Tampa to fuck your shit up.
Yeah,
because we don't have anything.
Right.
We don't have anything nice over there, so we crossed that bridge into Ybor City,
and that's where you went to fight. That's where a lot of fights would happen. It'd be there or the fair. And if you go to the fair, you go to Ybor City, you're gonna have to bump, bro. That's just we gonna bump, bro. That's just what it is. And you accepted that, and you're nervous. You're like, bro, I just want to go to the fair. I just want to go. It just is like,
I hate
anxiety,
that anxiety that we had to live. I will say I hated living with this anxiety that shit was always gonna like go down.
It could go left at any moment, bro.
That's why I started going to church. I think a lot of my anxiety got relieved once I started going to church, because like yeah, when you were out, this is what I don't get now that I live in New York City and I'm around certain people. Like I'm not bragging, but I'm gonna go have dinner with Adam Conover.
Right.
Adam Conover is Adam Ruins Everything.
Right.
I couldn't think of a dude that's more different than from where I grew up
Than Adam.
But then again, like, and so sometimes I'm like, I'm in the room with people like Adam or whatever, and I'm like, I don't think I'm like, I grew up with Bam and Jay. Like,
right.
Why am I here?
Do you have imposter syndrome?
I think everywhere I go, I carry a part of them with me.
Okay.
Because like, I don't think people understand that like as far as like where I went to school is like, you can come to class and people are like, hey, and this is a real story. Like people would be like, Peanut got shot in his head last night.
Yeah.
So-and-so was killed at a party. And you're like, what? We were in bio together. Like we had bio class.
And they just don't. You have to.
And you're like, what? Who? Because it was different. Like now kids are like, oh, there's a school shooter. Like,
Right.
no.
That shit happened every day, B.
No, like where we grew up, it was like you knew somebody.
Yeah.
And then like the next day you found out that they were dead.
So the PTSD was a necessary anxiety to keep everyone safe. If we're going out, you're going to have to accept that this may happen because death is a real thing.
Well, like the youth murder rate where I grew up was high when I was there. It wasn't fun. Now like St. Petersburg, like they're tearing down they're tearing down a popular black bookstore, Haslam's, and building like a parking garage. They're you used to not be able to walk around downtown St. Pete, and I guess that it's getting better, but like what is better? People are being priced out of their homes and gentrification is moving further and further into the south side of St. Pete.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool that you have a dog bar. Like that's big. It's like the dog breweries.
Yeah.
But it's like, it doesn't feel like the same city anymore. And it's not that I want it to be, I don't want that anxiety to still exist and kids to be dying.
Right.
I don't want that.
But you also want the culture.
But I also want to know that like the kids that this next generation is getting the opportunity without getting kicked out of the neighborhood somehow.
Right.
You know?
I feel like, and Florida may be an exception, but everybody's childhood, because of the internet, everyone's childhood is going to look the same. So Florida is going to have a similar childhood to somebody in California because
You think so?
there are cultural differences. Yeah. It's kind of like how A$AP Rocky like consumed music. He doesn't sound like New York, even though he's New York as fuck, right?
No, yeah,
it's because he listened to Wayne, he listened to Rick Ross, he listened to everybody, and then he became this. His fashion is New York as fuck, but how he talks, how he carries himself is a little bit of like what I think the world is now. So you'll still be New York accented, but you're not gonna. Your childhood is gonna relate to a little bit of everyone. You'll still be California, you'll still be Florida, but it's gonna be like it's like suburb kids. I feel like everyone's gonna be like that soon.
Steve Jobs spoke on when he went to Istanbul. He was like, he saw people with like iPhones, and he realized that now there's like a universal youth, and I think that's evident in like there's like movements, you know, like Palestine and like even women in Iran. Are like like we're not gonna wear the hijabs no more, like you know what I mean, because they see other women in different countries and they're like, we don't have to do this, Right.
It's like me and our buddy Mike Bailey in high school, our senior year, we were college bound. We're wearing tall tees. We're like deep in what is YN culture today, right? Our version of that, 2005, 2004. And the shift of Kanye hit, and so we just started wearing polos, and that was our like Nike Tech to quarter zip transition. It's like we had the tall tee to polo.
Is that what you think is happening now with kids? Like like
except it's not a Kanye movement. It's
it's
a shift.
Who brought in because I'm seeing this on TikTok right now,
right?
And who's responsible for the quarter zip? Because for us, Kanye was responsible for introducing like I remember when I started listening to Kanye, I raided my dad's closet because I was like, oh, does he have a blazer? Does he have a dress shirt? Because I'm gonna put that on with some jeans
with the tall tee layered up underneath it, and then the jeans and the shoes to match. Boo boo boo, everything.
But
match.
even what's it called? Even like Jay-Z was like a big proponent of that, where he was like, I don't wear jerseys, I'm 30 plus, which looking back at that, man, like maybe that wasn't a good thing for me to like gravitate to as a kid, because he literally stated he's
like,
30 plus.
I have to change up, bro.
And I'm 17, like maybe like slow down, you know? Maybe slow down a little bit. But
it started a fashion trend, and I think that I'm interested.
Pharrell was responsible too.
Pharrell was
was responsible, but I do like the fact that now we've come back and we're like, okay, like streetwear is a thing. You could be comfortable. Yeah. You don't have to dress like a real estate agent to project a level of.
I had a real estate agent era, bro, but that was in college.
Bro, trust me, bro. Yeah. I thought I was gonna be a politician when I first came to college, bro. I had the suit on. Like, I was like learning how to do double knot ties.
Yeah, the double Windsor was a crazy time, bro.
God.
And you know who had good ties? Donald Trump. Trump ties.
I thought you were gonna say Donnie Garner.
Donnie Garner, bro. But Donnie put us on the Donnies, bro. Shout out to Donnie Gardner, because he had the big fat.
He's the reason why I moved to New York. Yeah. I slept on his couch for a month until I got my stuff right.
You run into Donnie, bro, who was like a distinguished FSU, like, senior. Maybe he was a senior. You know, it's weird, bro.
He was in grad school, I think.
Okay.
And then you would kind of tap into him like a sage.
Yes.
They're like, go talk to Donnie. And then you would sit down with Donnie and he would kind of like read you. And he's like, you know what? You cool.
You got a resume? And you're like, yeah, I got one. He's like, send it to me. And then he'll redo your resume. And you're like, oh, this is what a resume looks like. He got you right, man. He got you right. And I think that's something when I look at like different, like I live in LA, right? The community was so rich in Florida that you could tap into someone like a Donnie Gardner and like you would get right. And like it took us levels to get to that point, but the fact that, you know, there's somebody like that, there's somebody like Ben Crump, there's somebody like Sean Pittman that you could just tap into to be like, oh yeah, this is how you do this. You wanting to be a politician was a very realistic thing. Like same with me. It was like I wanted to be like a politician.
Still could be.
We still might.
That could be a thing. Like I'm looking at Mom Donnie and I'm like,
it's not in the bag, bro. You know what I mean? You get through comedy, you got no allegations, you got a good reputation. You could speak. You could community organize and like,
but you know, if
you're funny.
No, if I became a politician, I'd be in like DC and I'd be like, you knew I grew up around Quantarius and Jay, right? I'll smack the shit out of you. Like I wouldn't play any game. I couldn't play any games.
But that's what fucked you up.
Like Pete Hegseth would get like smacked.
He'd get one of these. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like,
you're not a tough guy for real.
Shut up. I'll pants you right now, little. All of them need wedgies, dog. But so St. Pete to Florida State.
St. Pete to Florida State.
Okay.
Yeah, growing up with that anxiety, but then like what relieved it was I found church.
Okay.
I found a church. Church got me right.
Yeah.
Jesus got me right.
You need Jesus in
you
Florida,
need
bro.
Jesus because you don't fear anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't fear anything.
And without that fear, you're ready to accept things that, like, you have to accept death. You have to accept these things. Yeah.
Because I remember being a kid and everything was so high strung. Like, it was all about, like, I mean, even at the football games, you would go there and you would, like, I was a rapper. So at the football games, we would do ciphers and we would battle. Mm-hmm. And even that was like, all right, I gotta bring everything was like very like, I gotta be performative. Right. I gotta like always kill it, you know? But like, it was, Jesus played a role in me making it out.
Okay. And so when did you like find yourself, bro? Like when
2 years ago?
Facts.
Like
nah,
what?
I feel that.
What
Nah,
the
but
fuck?
okay, your high school version of you. When did you like step into? Okay, this is what I am.
Okay,
right now.
I remember. I'll never forget it. So like I was known for like rapping and being a Christian dude.
Okay.
And so like, okay, here's so like every year I would go to a different school because of zoning. Because then like after we moved, I had to go to another middle school, and then I had to go to another high school, and then the first high school that I went to, again, I got bussed out. I hated it. It was St. Petersburg High. I didn't have a connection to it. And then my 10th grade year, I started going to a school that was down the street from me.
So you found it in 10th grade.
Like think about like how much of a blessing that was to me. Like think about that's how messed up the school system was in Florida, where it was like, oh, it took me like 4 years to finally go to a street that was close in proximity.
Yeah.
So
your environment.
So then I had more friends there. Okay. I made the bestest of friends there. I started rapping, and then, bro, I remember I released a mixtape, and I had like, I released a mixtape, and kids were buying it. Mm-hmm. It was called the Get It Right mixtape. Okay. And the teachers were playing it in their class. And so like I came home with a wad of money, bro. A wad of money off of selling my mixtapes that I printed up like myself. Cause then I was big on like Adobe Photoshop, and I would make t-shirts for like girls' birthday parties, like, or a cheerleader for homecoming, or and that was somebody's friend that died.
Screen print tees,
bro. You went to the mall. I was making my own screen print tees. I was making tees with like album covers that I like. Like I had a college dropout joint. I made a Hey Ya video joint with all of the different with all the different Andre characters on there. Like, yeah, and I remember after I started doing all that stuff, a kid came up to me in the locker room, and he was like, yo, you that Rufat kid? You know you popular. And I'm like, I'm popular? And that changed my whole entire life.
So you had a mixtape that you were selling. Keep talking, because I could hear you, but let me pull something up. Keep going. Keep going. Let me show you how things go full circle.
Should I talk while?
Just keep talking. So you had the mixtape.
I had the mixtape. And I think that moment, I'll always think back to that moment in any creative pursuit that I do, because it's like, you just got to kind of start doing the thing and like really putting something out. And then somebody will notice you and be like, you know, and I know what you brought down here.
Full circle.
Yeah, this is
full circle. That's beautiful.
This is, I've been doing this. It's like Florida, 20 bro. Years. This is 20 years, like in the making. Like, you know, everything's digital, but you got to make things feel special with because like that's what we grew up on in Florida. Like, I have that joke on stage where I'm like, you know, people don't make food with love, bro. Like, if you lived in Florida, make sure you get a little bit, yeah. I think you're fine. But like in Florida, people make things with like love, especially like food. And so it's like, yeah, even like digital stuff. I want this stuff to feel like you're in a small bar with us. Right. You're enjoying our presence, or you're like veering into it. But yeah, man, this like for me to make this is 17-year-old Rufat. Yeah. You know?
Full circle,
and you know what the crazy thing is? I designed the cover. Yeah. I picked the text. You know, I positioned everything like I did it all like.
And that all built into that, which is that's just because you did your 17-year-old mixtape, and then you did another one when you were
I did it in college.
19, but that's when I met you.
Yeah.
Right. So I caught two loops of this.
And then you caught like another two. And then I started then when I started comedy, I had to kind of like reset everything that I had learned from music and wait till I got good enough.
Right. I remember
to where I'm like, here.
I remember I was talking to Devin Walker. This was my very first New York trip. And we had met up and we were talking about you. And I was like, when Rufat gets good at comedy, it's going to be crazy. And he was like, he's already good. And I was like, nah, we're not. He's not even close to where he is going to be. And I think you've arrived to this is your entry point into this, right? Because it's like now you're adding your nuances, you're adding like the touches that make you, and it's coming to you. Because like when I met you in college, it was like, oh, you heard about Rufat? And it was like, who's Rufat? Because somebody told you you were popular. And it was like, no, we had to come to Rufat. So it's like it was a version of that. You came in through the CARE program, which is mostly black, first generation college student entry program, and then we were like, okay, let's go over here with our friends because this was the black population.
Yeah,
and then
I've always been somehow kind of
at the back of the bus.
And amongst the black community.
At the back of the bus, bro.
And I think when people first meet me, they think like, who is this dude? Is he playing a role? But then like when people actually meet me, they know that like, this isn't like some song and dance that I'm trying to do.
Right.
I am just mimicking the things and the people, and not even mimicking. I'm reliving a history that I've had since I was younger. It's how I came up. It's how I was raised. It's been imprinted on my head, inside of my brain, that this is how I move.
It's not ironic.
No, it's not ironic, and I'm not doing it to be anything. But also, like, as I've grown as a human being, I know that I don't have to always be also like attacked. Like I can. Yeah, man. Like I didn't let Florida completely bury me to where I gotta be real all the time and I gotta be Florida.
Because you gotta let go of that once you leave Florida, because there's Florida in you, and then you're like, I remember I got in a situation in LA, and my homie Morgan was like, "Your Florida came out," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I had that." Like it's just in you. It's just a disposition that unfortunately needs to rear its face when you get PTSD of something, right? You get in a situation that's like, okay, Florida is coming out now, and this is just who's going to take care of this matter for me. So it's like you have to learn how to let that go, or else you won't be able to transition. Like I know a lot of people from Florida State that moved to California that just didn't transition because they wouldn't let the Florida go.
You gotta.
But there is a Florida to New York pipeline that I think makes it a little easier culturally versus California. And it's hard to explain, but like
sometimes California can feel too eerily similar to Florida,
and it's very
and then
different.
It tricks your body.
Yes.
Whereas New York, it feels too different for you to even go back to that.
And because when
it's too different.
It's very different. It's
like I know this Nigerian dude that's in Russia, right? And he's like, well, I'm Nigerian before I'm Russian, but he speaks Russian. He knows the Russian culture, and he knows how to function in it, but he never forgets his roots.
Right.
And so I think that's like the important thing is like,
I
may be Armenian, I may be Azerbaijani, but Floridian is also very deep
that's
down
an identity,
in me,
especially in America. Yeah.
But I don't have to. I can evolve.
It's like it's like a bilingual kid. Like you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, like I didn't even realize you were bilingual because you speak so fluently in English. You don't speak with an accent, even though we probably say Florida things.
Yeah.
You know
I got still got.
You'll hear it. You're like, oh, you're from Florida. Like there's certain things that I'm like, okay, you're from Florida. I know where you're from. I've seen this before.
That's why I get so upset when I tell people I'm from Florida, they have this like Florida,
right?
Florida man, Florida, like, and I'm like, I get very serious with people. I'm like, first of all, shut the fuck up.
Right.
You don't know anything about the state of Florida. The Florida is one of the most diverse states in this country.
Right.
It's a 12-hour, almost 14-hour from the Panhandle down to fucking Cuba, damn near. And when you hit that drive down, depending on whether you're on the west or the east of it, is a totally different thing. You know, whether you're St. Pete was coastal, we had the beaches. You got it just. There's so many different
cultures.
places. Some places have palm trees. The Panhandle doesn't have palm trees. It's just, it feels like Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just so, some places are gay.
Yeah.
Like there's places that are really gay. There's places that are really conservative. Edgar and James I remember I went to Edgar and James's town that he grew up in, like Bradenton or something.
Yeah.
And bro, I remember this politician dude that I was with, who was like a mentor to me. He was like, yeah, man, they say that like this city is still like stuck in the 80s, like technologically wise, you know, like they haven't like updated much things here. It's like just Florida. So when people talk shit about Florida, I think about Bam. I think about Quantarius.
Yeah.
I think about all those dudes. And I'm like, nah, shut the fuck up, man. Florida is special. And even I read a book about what's that place? The Everglades. And I think the Everglades is a metaphor for what Florida is. The Everglades, like, America fought a war back in the day to take it over, and it was like the first Vietnam War. They went into the Everglades to fight against the natives, and the soldiers got like dengue, they got wet mud, they got in their boots, they were getting bit up by mosquitoes, malaria, diarrhea, exhaustion, fatigue. They would have to kill themselves while they were out on the battlefield. And then like the Everglades is like this such a diverse like a diverse piece of land. Like it has every type of like so many different plants and animals and species, and like people have been trying to dredge it and drain it because it's dirty and it's filthy and it's nasty, and they're trying to get rid of it, and it's undefeated. No one has ever been able to defeat the Everglades, and that shit is just such a big metaphor for what Florida is. It's so diverse, so many different types of people. Everyone's trying to knock it down and say that it's whack, it's this, it's that. You can't. Florida is undefeated, man, and it is the South.
And this is why it gets this bad reputation, is because our records are public. So you could, let's say you got a ticket in Florida, I could Google you and find all your parking tickets. I could find all your arrest records, all your felonies, all your misdemeanors. Whereas in California, I don't know if it's New York, but you cannot. But best believe a person in California or in New York or in Washington State has eaten someone's face off of drugs. You just don't hear about it, right? But in Florida, because it's public record and there's a literal paper or website that finds Florida men, quote unquote Florida man, and then just publishes it as content, we now have that reputation. So it's like going on someone's computer and they have their porn up just regularly versus us, where we're like, oh, it's CNN right now, or it's NPR, and then I go to porn. It's like, it's just up front versus like a couple websites back. You know what I mean? So everywhere is the same.
What was your experience? When did you get to Tampa?
So I lived in Tampa twice, right? So my dad's from Tampa, and so I would always go visit, but I lived there when I was like kindergarten, first grade, right? And then we moved around, lived in Kansas, Hawaii, California, DC. So I'm fresh off of DC. So the moment you had on the bus, I had that in DC. It was a guy, his name is Baron. He would be like, hey, don't do this, do this. And I just happened to listen to him. And like
you listened. You weren't like me.
I listened.
I didn't
because
listen.
It was just a huge cultural shock. Because I went from California, like Northern California, which is a blend of everybody, to DC, which is just black as fuck. So there's not even white people where I was. So it was like, oh. So then going from DC, which is like a unique, nuanced type of black. Now I'm going from DC to Florida, which is a completely different type of black. So it's like I had to be like fluent in different languages. So it's just I went from wearing like New Balances and skinnier jeans and like just DC has its own thing. It's like DC was on North Face like a long time ago. You know what I mean? DC was on skinny jeans, New Balances, just Like it had its own like slur, a slang to it, to Florida, and it was like, oh, everything's different now. And I'm now in 10th grade. This was my parents' like come up, right? So this is they just bought a house. We lived in the suburbs, and then they're like, oh, you're going to East Bay High School. And my dad, who grew up in Florida, was like, that's where the carnies go. And I was like, carnies? What do you mean? I guess the carnival the carnival would stop in that area, crazy. And all the carny kids would go. So like Lobster Boy, the guy with the lobster hand, went to my school. Like it was just that. So it was actually a prison that they turned into an a middle school, right? And then they built like, similar to yours, where they bust everyone in. So I'm coming from the suburbs, right? Because I'm a military kid. You was on
some American Horror Story type shit.
And then you get the carny kids, you get the Mexican kids, you get like suburb black kids, and then we had hood black kids. They were the Progress Village kids. So it was everybody going to this school at once.
We had the same, We didn't have carnies, but like, we had a bunch of different type of people because we had a really good magnet program. Yes. And that's how another way I got known is like I was the lead anchor on our TV show. Yeah, and that's like we really took our.
Were
TV
you an
show
AP
serious.
Kid?
No, I didn't get into AP. I didn't get into the.
Because you're smart. Did you hide it?
No, I just wasn't. It took me a while to get my grades up.
Okay.
And then when I got my grades up, I don't think I was like. Qualified for the magnet program.
Why were your grades down?
I was a bad kid.
Right. So if you would have locked in, right,
earlier on,
you would have been fine.
But then like I got my grades up to where they needed to be in high school, where that's the only place it really counts.
Right.
I would tell any kid now, like, you could do whatever you want till you get to like 8th grade and then get good enough grades to get into a magnet program.
Lock in.
Yeah. High school's the only time you really need to lock in, but at this point, college is a waste of time and a waste of money.
You think so? I would advocate for the social.
I think college is very important, but we live in a capitalist country where
that's
like
just OD now, bro.
You pay to play, so now you can't even go to a good university if you have good grades. You have to have excellent grades to make it inside a university, unless you have great money.
Right. And I'm seeing now, because I've been back to Florida State, there's less black kids going to school now,
and they'll cut funding for care.
Right. So like, seeing when politicians are talking about we cutting DEI, Florida, because of its politics, that shit's the first to go. I wouldn't have got into
Florida State.
I thought, because I was like, and I was like, oh, Rufat, our homie Market, like that program would have just gone away, and I'm like, oh shit, like that's what that looks like. It's like, nah, you need that bridge, because that's an important piece to what I'd say what Florida State was in general.
And when people say like, oh, you got in because you're DEI, like you're not as talented as the other kids, I'm like, nah, I'm way more talented than those kids.
Yeah. You washed people for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What?
It was just
people from boring backgrounds aren't special.
No. And
like what? No, not at all.
And that's what we realized. So it was interesting because it was you and Marcus. Marcus went to our school, who ultimately became our group. AJ came from California, and Mike, and Marcus all went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm. And you met them there with the carnies and all of that.
Met them there, and like we had to realize we were all military kids. So it like being a military kid in Florida, like that's a different thing amongst itself, because you don't fit in right there, but we have to always adapt. So it's like, all right, your dad's moving. Okay, now we got to move to Kansas. I know people, like when people say, oh, you're from DC in Florida and you live in LA, and like I could pull up to Kansas and still go to the grocery store and still see someone I knew growing up. And I'm like, yeah, I know Big Meat's the real Big Meat. Like, just little shit like that. I could say, I know someone in Kansas. I know here. So being a military kid, you now have to find these guys. And then my PTSD is running, right? Because now we got military PTSD and we got Florida PTSD. So now I'm seeing, okay, here goes this guy who's similar to me, who moves like me. Here goes this guy. Then they meet up with you through the CARE program. And then our 4 of us meet up and we're like, okay, we're a group almost. So that's our story, right? That's how we meet.
Yeah.
Rufat was a rapper. Me, Mike, and Marcus came from Tampa, and then we were like, oh, you came from St. Pete. Cool. AJ was a California dude. And now we're all at Florida State. We all like understood. I don't think AJ understood Florida culture. He was very California, right? He was California as fuck.
He was, but like it's easy for us to adapt because like a lot of the time we kind of like leaned into AJ's California.
But he also was like repping Miami too. He had some family out in Miami. And he had like the braid, so it kind of worked. We're like, okay,
he understood us.
Yeah. So being adaptable allowed AJ to be like, I'm Miami, bro. Don't even.
Also, you lived other places.
Yeah.
I lived other places. We all lived other places. Yeah. So like, it wasn't like I'm basically not a military kid, but
you're a product of the military kid.
Yeah, I've been also many places, and I had to adapt.
I had thought about that one time. I was like, bro, like we are connected through wars, essentially, right?
Yeah, your parents started them.
Yes.
My parents ran from
Yes. And then we end up going to college together.
Yeah.
And
war is such
a bonding. You need war. If without wars, this friendship wouldn't have happened, bro.
Yeah.
Without military funding, dog. And it's like that's what it's for, bro. It's like we overthrowing governments. You get one Rufat, you're good to go, bro.
Yeah.
You need a Rufat. So now we're entrenched. We form a super group, right?
Go ahead, say the name.
ENGM, educated niggas getting money. Rufat couldn't say it, and he was Christian and he was a rapper, so he was like, "Yo," and you did it in a smooth way because I didn't even realize it wasn't because you didn't want to say the N-word. It was just because you made it to be like, "Nah, we're better than that. We're educated, noble, godly men," and I was like, "Damn, that's a swerve, bro."
Yeah.
And it was the YN to the YG.
Yeah,
transition.
I was the quarter zip.
Yeah, you were the
mentally. I had a quarter zip.
You had a quarter zip, bro, because knowing you were already politicked in because you had the bud, you had motion coming in.
Yeah.
And then we would have to come in, and then that's how me and Mike started cooking. We had to cook up. We had to bring it and then cook up. Whereas the kitchen was already in your air environment.
And then I went with the whole thing of like I was thinking about joining the frats, and then I didn't. Yeah, that's a whole thing.
I think you went hard in Christianity. So where we are now, I think back to where you guys were on your Christian journey, where you were heavy in the church, right? You were heavy in the Bible. You were heavy into the religion.
But I did a shed.
Right. So we are in the midst of that right now, culturally. Like you weren't Republican though. That's the thing. It wasn't. But there is a Christian movement right now that's happening, and it is similar, but it's very different.
I wanted to. I was. That's the thing. Is like Republicanism comes with evangelical Christianity. And like it's almost like a buy-in.
Right.
That like. Where like was I a bigot? Was I hateful? No. But it was like my morals were at stake because abortion and 2 men kissing or some shit.
And that's Florida pre-Obama, so it shit kind of already lined up, bro. Where like we didn't really know. Like me and Mike met our first gay homie 12th grade, where we're like, oh, you're gay. Okay. And then we go to school, Florida State, and we're like, oh, that guy's gay. Okay. It was still new.
My best friend growing up revealed to me that he was gay.
Gotcha.
He was 4 years older than me. And when he was in college and I was still back in high school, he was like, yeah, I didn't tell you this, but I'm a gay man. I was like, oh shit.
My first Florida State roommate was gay. And like, he was like, I'm out. I'm going to find myself. And like he would go to the gay clubs and come back with dudes, and keep in mind that we're in a dorm about the size of this. Yeah. And I would just sit outside and just wait for him to be done so I could go to sleep. But I was like, oh, okay, well, I know what it's like to find yourself. So go ahead and get off, do your thing, bro. I'm glad you're free. And I knew what he was seeking. It was freedom, because he's been so like, and then, so there was a right leaning culture that came along with the Christianity, but we're Florida, where it's 06, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we were in the Bush era, like,
but coming out of it, and then like the scales fell off my eyes, kind of like a reverse Paul.
Yeah.
And like I remember I just started I dwiddled it down. Like there was some things I started to get uncomfortable with in Christianity, and I was like,
you challenged the institution. I felt like you challenged the group think, which I admired.
I think everywhere I'm not trying to be like I'm a revolutionary, but like everywhere I go, I'm like,
yeah, but what about this?
Yeah,
right.
Maybe we could look at it
which is very Christ-like of you.
Yeah,
so even though you are
Antichrist,
this is the most Christ you've been. Bro.
I mean, if
community driven, you're righteous, you're anti-institution. Yeah, and you're from the Middle East, bro.
if you think about it, like what Zen Buddhism teach, or just like Zen teaches, it's always like, you become the thing when you're the yang. Like it's the yin. Like to be Christ is to be anti-Christ.
Right.
What
be
does that mean?
You have to be atheist, right?
It's like yeah, and
to be atheist,
people hear this and be like, what the fuck is he talking about? But like, no, it's really true. It's like, I don't buy the Jesus that they sell me, and I don't know, man. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. What's like, you were telling me you went to high school. I mean, do you want to do these, like, I think like we all need like I do want to tell like a Florida story. Like what's a story that you have about Florida where you're like, this is a Florida story?
Well, I'll give you two.
Also, what time is it?
Hey Siri.
Let's see.
What time is it? 8:43. We got 15 minutes.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two stories. The first story is so we're talking about republicanism, right? Mm-hmm. My family is from Tampa. My grandmother is from Miami. My granddad's from Georgia. Mm-hmm. So my uncles are very Republican. One of my uncles, like not, I believe in taxes. He's like very Trump, like, but even before Trump, he's always been that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm making fun of him in the group text. I'm like, hi, this is you. I post a picture of a black Republican. And my other uncle was like, that's your other cousin. And I was like, what do you mean? So the guy who started Blacks for Trump is my cousin. And so he's not just a Blacks for Trump guy. He's the Blacks for Trump guy who created this, because he went to jail because he was a very devout, not a Nation of Islam, but like a 5%er, if you will, like a black Israelite. In order to raise up in the ranks, you had to kill 2 white people to get to like a supreme leader. He went to jail for attempted murder of trying to kill 2 white people, changed his life, created Blacks for Trump in jail, and then came out. And this is the guy you see holding the Trump. That's my cousin. The second story is I'm 12th grade, bro. Me and Bailey, we make the transition, YN to YG, right? So, but over the course of the year, you see, so I'm coming from DC where we value dressing, right?
Yeah.
Just like you said, to tie everything together. Up north culture values dressing. Down south values things, right? Yeah. Vessels that carry you. So I find myself my 11th and 12th grade year. 10th grade I arrive. I'm DC. 11th I'm kind of Florida. I'm finding my legs. 12th grade I'm complete. Like there's a blend of what Keith is. I value dressing. I'm like into fashion. I have crazy Jordans. I have crazy throwbacks. I have crazy outfits. Like my shit's going off. Like I'm a blend of like Pharrell down with Florida, right? I feel that. And then then Kanye comes, right? There's a shift. I'm working at the time, so I have enough money to like transition into this crazy polo game, right? So the course of the year, you see a very wide spectrum of me throwing fits like it's like I'm a crazy person, bro. Like Jordan's off the chain, like, and then I'm transitioning into like this is when like, I think it's almost pre-Sperry movement, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that blend. I'm going up for best dress, senior superlative, bro. They're calling the name. Mike Bailey wins best smile, right? Most likely to succeed. Blah 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 blah. They call best dressed. I get up because I'm already expecting the award.
Yeah.
They call this dude behind me. It's like this gay white dude who would wear like Canadian tuxedos with like a Burberry scarf.
Yeah.
I don't even think he went to our school. He just kind of popped out of nowhere. I was like, who the fuck is this guy who won best dressed?
Yeah.
I win most controversial, which I don't think is fitting, kinda, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
you're controversial.
So,
and sometimes I think you don't even lean into it enough.
You think I should be more controversial?
I think in a playful way, I think the reason why we hang out with each other is that like you and I know how to say some absurd shit, but we know how to make it make sense to the listener,
right?
Because we know that you can't get people's attention without flipping the tables.
Yeah, you gotta flip. You gotta flip the tables like Jesus did. In my prom picture is me, Marcus. There's a guy named Dominique, and our fourth guy, his name is Ronnie O'Neal. Ronnie O'Neal was a football player at our school, and Ronnie O'Neal is the guy who murdered his family, who decided to defend himself in court in defense of himself, right? Because he is claiming he did not murder his family. But throughout the trial, he ends up admitting he murdered his family. And that guy is in my prom picture.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive,
He's
bro.
still
He's
alive.
in prison.
Do we think it's CTE?
I think so.
You think it's CTE?
I think it's Florida PTSD. I think it's CTE. I think it might be like a bipolarism. I think it just might be.
It's like a whole wealth of things.
It's because black mental illness is new.
Oh, of course.
We haven't seen that before, but I think he had a collection of things.
He
was a normal kid, but am I the
the
most controversial guy in high school, or is that guy? Because I think I should have won best dress.
The crazy thing is that like those videos, we laughed at him.
Yeah.
Those were funny videos when he was defending himself because we saw that and we were like, we know that dude. But like you knew that dude.
I knew that he sat next to me, bro.
Because bro, growing up in Florida, like those types of dudes like Ronnie, like it wasn't just that they thought that they could defend themselves in court, bro. Like they thought that they could do anything.
Right.
And they could.
Right. And here's and here's
that's not
the thing.
To say that they couldn't.
They were so again, all the hood dudes got bust into East Bay, right? Being friends with Dominique and Ronnie was like okay, I'm okay. Because I know I'm not going to be, I know I politicked enough to know somebody from that camp that will vouch for me to be like, he's good, bro. And it just happened to be the most killerest killer, you know? And Dominique, who was just like a college-bound football player, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we know guys here. We knew the AP students here. We knew the Mexicans here. We knew this guy here. So it's like we knew a little bit of everybody to politic to be able to get out.
I went to school with Louis Murphy, who was he went professional. He played with Aaron Hernandez, and he was friends with Aaron Hernandez. And I say this to say that when you live in Florida, you are not that far away from somebody that has CTE and is going to kill somebody.
going
like your degree to CTE is probably like is not very far away.
Right. So and then I'll wrap with this, right? My senior year in high school, it's Ronnie O'Neal. My senior year in college is Myron Rolle, right? 2 football players on the very bad, like opposite ends of the spectrum of like, these are 2 people I knew, right? Because Myron is another guy. It's like, I know you, that's my number. So it's a different type of relationship, but it's like, I know you're from a different group, and I'm glad I know you because I've like, this is within my realm, right?
Yeah.
So like knowing that spectrum is fucking crazy. It's like, that's Florida in a nutshell for you.
Yeah. I think my Florida story is just one story. There's so many, but really I'll end it with this story. I am in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's my freshman year. I'm a part of the Black Student Union. I'm rapping.
Weren't you runner up for Mr. BSU or Mr. BSU?
I was runner up for Mr. BSU.
The only reason why you didn't get it is but we do.
But also it's like,
won it.
Look, so I just I'm there. I'm making music, and
who beat you, by the way? We don't even remember. That's the point.
Akeem Woods.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's legit. I fuck with Akeem. Shout out to Akeem. I thought we forgot who it was. It's like, we don't even know.
I'll never forget. How dare. So I'm rapping, and I get my friend that I was in a rap group with in St. Pete, who goes to UCF. I was like, yo, can you take the Florida State like war chops?
Oh, yeah.
Like the Seminole song or whatever. Oh, can you flip that into like a like a crazy like
Florida
like a
beat,
Florida
bruh.
trap beat, and I rapped over it. I posted it on YouTube, and it blew up.
That shit went crazy.
It blew
bro.
up. Everyone was listening to it, like, and so the BSU books me to perform at the Black Student Union homecoming that year.
And that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Everyone sees you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm opening up for Trick Daddy. And at that time, I'm Christian. So I'm Christian. I'm at the club, opening up for Trick Daddy. Things go well. I don't bomb. People mess with it. Like, no one booed. You know, because people are mean in college. They're like, boo. But no, like, you do the Florida State song. That saves me. I didn't get booed. And so Trick comes on stage, and I'm like, oh man, like I'm having like am I supposed to be here? I'm a Christian. Why am I at the club? And I'll never forget, Trick comes on stage, and he'll do a song, and then he'll talk. He'll do a song, he'll talk. He does a song, and he starts to talk, and he's like, if there's any bitches in this room, bruh, that say you got they baby, but you know that shit ain't yours, you tell that bitch, kill that baby ain't mine. Kill that baby ain't mine. And that's my Florida story.
That's beautiful.